Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. So as noted in the title, we're going to be entering the next phase of Alchemortis development, which sounds maybe a lot more epic than it is, but the next big thing to figure out is like what the full flow of the game is going to look like, because with the release of the playtest, basically you just fight up to the first boss. It's a good example or a good demonstration of how the moment-to-moment gameplay feels, but now we got to figure out what does an entire run look like and what are all the mechanics involved in that. And from there, once we nail that down, we can start, layering on the permanent progression systems and more content and all that stuff. So I think this is the next big thing to work on, and that's what I'm going to be working on probably for the next several weeks. I already got a start on it last night, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, but I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. We're already up to 350 wish lists, so that's great, and it's a good start, but could definitely use some more wish lists for sure. So if you're interested, it's the first link in the description. Of course, I also just launched the Patreon where you can support me. Any of the paid tiers will give you early access to the Alchemortis playtests right now. So there's a playtest running right now, so if you subscribe at one of these tiers, you will get a Steam key emailed to you. But also, any future playtests that come out, you will also get early access to. And at the top tier here, you will also get your name in the Alchemortis credits and unlimited access to my course content. So that's an option for you. And also, the playtest will be available publicly too, so you don't need to pay if you just want to play Alchemortis. You just have to wait a little bit, so don't worry about that. And then I also have my Udemy courses, which are another great way to support me, but also a great way to learn how to build games in the Godot engine. So all those options are available if you're interested in financially supporting me. Otherwise, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel. All that good stuff is helpful as well. And of course, there's a Discord now. Oh my gosh, I've got so much stuff to advertise. There's a Discord now that's also linked in the description below. So you could go ahead and hop in there if you want to just chat about Alchemortis or anything really. Okay, am I done with the ads now? I think I am. I think I'm done. Anyway, hello Dorka, welcome. Good to see you again. Kusei, hello, welcome back. RN Genesis, good to see you. Budget Jin, welcome to the stream. Shalurgi, good to see you. I made myself too important at work, and now being able to tune in is a rare treat. Classic mistake. No, it's okay. Having more responsibility at work can definitely be a good thing, for sure. Hello, Genius Potato, welcome back. Sam Studio, good to see you. Going well, how are you doing? Jackie Daytona, good to see you. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. But Jackie Daytona, I read your PDF and noted a couple things in my board here. So thank you for taking that time to write that up. The title does sound quite epic, yeah. Is Steam going to be paid? Yeah, I mean, when the game releases for full, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to cost money. Good morning, Ryan. How are you doing? Okay, so let me give you a rundown of what's going on here. So I made the map a lot bigger. Are your Godot courses updated to the latest version of Godot? No, each course is on a different version. I have 3 courses that are in a version of Godot 4. The most recent course, the multiplayer course, is up to date for 4.4.1, but I do have a Godot 3 course on there as well. So they're in various stages of Godot, or various versions of Godot. Okay, son of a bee, welcome Neozoid. So here's the new map. It's not really new, but I just changed some of the dimensions. So I made it skinnier, like width-wise, than it is tall. So it's kind of like this rectangular shape that goes all the way up with lots of nodes here. And this map is now divided into 3 regions, which is denoted by this little marching ants border here. So here's the general flow. Here's how it's generally going to work. When you're in this first region here, this is going to be like the villager faction, the peasant faction or whatever. It's going to influence what types of enemies are going to appear in the combats, etc. But you're generally going to want to stay in this region until you get the first notoriety bar filled up, and you'll fight this region's boss. And then what will happen is there will be pressure on you to move into the next region. And that pressure is coming in the form of all of these nodes are going to come under the watch of the church or the Inquisition, and their notoriety penalties are going to be increased significantly. So you could, if you wanted to, take the increased notoriety penalty if there's like an upgrade that you really want to grab that's in this region, right? But generally speaking, when this entire region is under the watch of the Inquisition, you're going to want to be in the next region because there will be no notoriety penalty. The Inquisition will not yet be watching this area until you build up your notoriety in this area as well. This will be for the second faction. The ultimate plan is to change these map decorations to indicate that it's a new area, but also to change the combat encounters with new enemy cards that don't appear in this bottom section. And then the same thing will happen. You'll fight this boss in this region, and then there will be pressure on you to go up to the final region in here, which will be the third faction, which will be perhaps the Inquisition itself. So you'll be fighting nobility, and you'll be fighting like clerics, clergy members, paladins, that kind of thing. And, you know, there's lots of things we could do. We could do dynamic map events, could have different, like you could have unique node types or unique event types that only appear in certain regions. I think there's a lot of room to go, but that's how the flow is going to work. So I want the entire game to take place on a single map, the entire run rather, to take place on a single map that you have to navigate carefully through to build up your power. And then ultimately you'll end up in this region here. And we could even do something different for this region too, like, you know, have a specific node that you want to visit or something, like a castle or whatever. But yeah, that's the plan right now. We're gonna see how this works. But this should basically, I mean, that's basically gonna be the loop, I think. So yeah, how do we feel about that? Map is actually big, yes, indeed. Lurk mode. Eyes meant emoji. World's first open world necromancy game. Someone has been busy. I'm excited the direction you were taking. Awesome. Did I hear paladins? I've been summoned. Yes, indeed. Welcome, Forgotten. Hello to you as well. So yeah, any thoughts on that? How does that sound? I've already started working on it, so as you can see, I've divided up the regions here. So the regions each contain roughly the same amount of nodes. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I want to implement, what is it? Let's do multiple factions here. Add tiered versions of events. So I'm going to have tiered versions of events, I think. Oh, got an error there. So I have this little tier indicator here. That's not actually the tier that I'm talking about. This just tells me what region it's in. So anything that's tier 1 is in the first region. Anything that's tier 2 is in the second region. That's just ignore that for now. That's just debug data basically. But what I want to do is have different tiers of all the nodes you can visit. So for example, a tier 1 version of alchemy is going to be a very small alchemy board, whereas a tier 2 version of alchemy is going to have a bigger board for you to work with. The health increases are going to scale in accordance with, you know, what tier it is. I think I will change the combat as well to have tier labels so you can judge roughly how difficult a combat encounter is going to be. And then there will be artifact tiers, which I have to figure out all that stuff. Shop tiers. I think the booster and shop tiers will basically just offer cards that are more powerful, meaning that they will they'll drop higher tier cards. The upgrades, the upgrade card here probably will put a restriction on that and say like a tier 1 upgrade. Card upgrade node can only upgrade a card that is tier 1. And then a tier 2 upgrade card node can only upgrade a card to tier 2. You know what I mean? So instead of being able to just take a card that already has a tier 5 on it and throw it into any of the upgrades, you'll have to find an upgrade node that has the appropriate tier to upgrade that card. So anyway, that's the way I'm thinking about it. I'm a little bit worried about some things. I'm mostly just worried about the pacing, because it might feel bad not to be able to alchemize some really ridiculous cards until you get up in here. So I may fuzz it a little bit. I might say, well, generally speaking, in the first region, all the nodes can get up to tier 2, but maybe there's an off chance that it can generate a tier 3 or even a tier 4 node in the first region that you can go for if you really want to. So I don't want to make it like so utterly predictable that you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to get a big enough alchemy board until I get all the way up here. You know, I'd like to add a little bit of fuzziness to it, but I think the general trend is going to be generally this region will contain nodes tier 1 to 2. This region will generally contain nodes tier 2 to 3, and this will generally contain, 3 to 4 down here, and then this top region will contain nodes of tier 5 to 6. That's the way that I'm thinking about it. We'll have to see how it goes. I think dynamic map events would be really cool too. For instance, like, I don't know, maybe having some named cards appear at some points, like, oh, this booster is guarded by High Chancellor Warwick or whatever, you know? Anyway, just a lot of thinking, but yeah, that's the plan. I can already see myself wanting to spend more time in one region to explore it more. Maybe there could be a node type that reduces notoriety when reached, so more time can be spent in any given region. Yeah, so the idea, the way I want to give you a little bit of leeway. So basically what happens when you beat this first boss, the nodes are going to come under the watch of the Inquisition, but that's going to spread over a certain amount of turns, basically, or a certain amount of travel situations. So it will start spreading down here, and then it will gradually spread outward to this border. And that means that you'll still be able to explore some of the upper nodes up here without incurring a penalty. So that way, number one, it gives you time to get to the border if you're like down here when you fight the boss, right? So you have time to get to the border. But also, if you're already at the top, you can spend more time in that region if you want to before you start incurring that penalty. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. We'll see how it works. Love the idea of regions. Would definitely help if they all had their own look and feel. Also music. Yes, that is the plan. I do like that you can revisit an old region with an extra cost. If the cloak can affect the revisit, then that would make the cloak very powerful. Yeah, so I think the idea is that the cloak is still going to make visited nodes 0 cost. So if you want to backtrack through a region and just to hit like one node that's off of your path a little bit, you could definitely do that without incurring a giant penalty, you know what I mean? Map looking great and humongously gorgeous, thank you. For a second I thought you were going for some kind of fog or hazard zone coming from the bottom to force the player to move up to the next region, like the circle closing in. It's kind of like that, except it's not. All it's going to do is just incur a notoriety penalty, so you might incur double the penalty that you normally would because it's under the gaze of the Inquisition. And there could be other things too, like maybe there's a slight risk that you get thrown into a particularly tough combat encounter when you're navigating a region that's under the watch of the Inquisition. Something like that. Hello, Rin, welcome back. I'm gonna change my username, Mark. I'm Genius Potato, this is him now. Oh, I don't remember that guy. Who is this, Mark? Welcome to the stream, Mark. I don't think I've ever seen you before. No, that's cool. Thanks for letting me know. Cool graphs, thank you. Welcome, RP Steven. Will there be a limited amount of progressive boss fights for a player, or can they keep fighting bosses infinitely until they lose? That's something that I'm going to think about later. Right now, I just want to focus on like what is the win condition for a run, and then once that's figured out, we can think about how to do like an endless mode. An endless mode could just be like, somebody mentioned New Game Plus. Maybe it could just be a New Game Plus. So you know how New Game Plus in like Souls-like games or whatever, it just makes the whole world more difficult, but you play through it from the beginning. It'd be interesting to borrow that for a roguelike context where you can have multiple like levels of New Game Plus in a single run, but then when you die, that's it. Your New Game Plus is over. So you could get to New Game Plus 3, die, and that's your run. The run is over. You know what I mean? Or, you know, maybe we could, I don't know. We'll have to think about it. There's lots of different ways to approach it for sure. Just, I want to get the victory condition like nailed down first. Like, let's just figure out what does a run look like from start to finish. Let's make it last, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And then we can figure out all those supporting systems later. Hello, V. Does this need more testing before updating the playtest? Oh yeah, it's not. I think that for this is probably going to be the next major playtest. So I would expect this version to be playable in a month, maybe. Because I want to make it like, okay, you've played the playtest with just the one boss, make you wait a month, 4 or 5 weeks for it, and then release a new playtest where you can experience this whole loop now. You know what I mean? Secret bosses for the old regions. Ooh, that's a good idea. You made this for the GMTK Jam, right? No, this is a project that I've been working on for over 5 months now. Welcome, cool guy that's fish, by the way. Cinema time, welcome, Meep. How is the boss battle triggered right now when reaching 100 notoriety and when crossing the region border? When reaching 100 notoriety, yeah. Jesus, but yeah, I got you. Hello, Clickertail. Inquisition boss fight that travels around the region after you've cleared it. You'd have to sneak around to avoid it or fight it. Yeah, definitely some good stuff to experiment with. Those YouTube notifications are broken, not getting stream notifications. Maybe I'll just start posting my stream notifications in the Discord then. So if you want to join the Discord, I will try to announce. Maybe I'll just do it right now. Copy link. I don't know if I want to clutter up my announcements here, but let's see. I hope I don't get any naughty messages. Okay, I'm actually going to do this right now. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do this right now anyway. Because I gotta set the permissions and everything. Well, I hope that works. I don't know. Let's see if this works. Okay, I think that should work. All right, anyway. Binding of Isaac is similar with its New Game Plus in that you can keep going with increased difficulty till a character dies. Yeah, I may just borrow that. We borrow here, we don't steal. Map looks more like a chaotic Slay the Spire map. Yeah, it kind of is. Slay the Spire only allows you to go one direction though, whereas in this map you can go any direction you want as long as you're traveling along a road. Could have sworn you were streaming this game for the jam. No, it was a similar game. Hello, Cody. Sorry if this has been covered. How's it all going? It's going well. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome. What's the plan for today? We're just going to work on this system that I just described here. Discord message from your Discord jump scared me. Oh, nice. Just got the Discord notifications here. Look at that. It's already working. Hello, Ninja Link. Welcome back. We will use Discord as a notification supplement because YouTube fails. Anyway, I actually don't remember what I was doing. Oh yeah, so let's see. So I've got this kind of working already. If I change my wanted level to 99 here. Planning on getting your co-op multiplayer Udemy course. Awesome, thank you. Appreciate that. Wonder how you'd communicate difficulty increase to the player, like the upper you go difficulty and plus loot or something. Yeah, I think I can just communicate that through the tiers here. So we'll figure that out. But let's get this working. So go to the alchemy here. What will happen is I'll just skip this. So I've set my wanted level such that one node triggers the boss fight. So we fight the boss here. Boss dies, doesn't reward any currency yet. The Inquisition's eyes shift to the growing darkness. And so now you'll notice that I need some kind of visual indicator for this, but a lot of these nodes now, this has a 12 notoriety penalty when before it was 6. So the notoriety penalty has been doubled, but that's only set for certain nodes. And when I move, it will spread. So that's an 18 penalty right here. So I'm taking a huge penalty to grab this. And now a lot of these should be even higher. So yeah, I think it does it. I'm going to need some kind of animation or something for this to let the player know that the eyes are spreading to all the individual nodes. But eventually, after a couple of movements, these will start getting very expensive. So for instance, this one up here has this one right here has a notoriety of 4. So now if I move again, I go back to that one. Now it has 8, right? So now I think what has happened is the eyes of the Inquisition have spread to all of these nodes. So basically every node that's below this region now has an increased notoriety penalty, which is going to just provide a light pressure on you to get into this region where everything is cheaper again from a notoriety perspective. So we're definitely going to need some kind of visual for that to make that work well. Also, this is not working anymore. Son of a biscuit. That's all right. My run progress bar is broken. And I have the whole map revealed right now, which is just a debug feature. You're not going to be able to see the whole map. The fog of war is still going to be in place. So what's the next thing to do? I actually forgot. So we're going to want an animation for that notoriety penalty. We're going to want to increase the tier of nodes And we need another boss fight to trigger when my notoriety goes up. I wonder what happens. Does that just loop normally? I didn't actually test that. Probably should turn down the notoriety, the max notoriety level in debug mode anyway. I actually joined because I watch a lot of dev on YouTube, so you're in the front page. Oh, nice. Every stream is on the front page. Very cool. Good morning, Adaton, Fanboy RD. Welcome, welcome. Is this inspired by the game called He Is Coming? Well, He Is Coming came out after I'd already started development on this game, so I'm going to accuse He Is Coming of taking from me. How's that? No, it's not. It's not directly inspired by He Is Coming, because again, it actually was not out when I started making this game. But I would say that no, it's not inspired at all. I think I already had the overworld map in place before I'd even heard of that game. I'm just gonna see what happens if this triggers another boss fight here. I'm gonna do like an admin panel sandbox mode from previous streamers. That idea bad? Yeah, I'm gonna do that eventually. Right now I'm having an okay time just using my little debug settings in the Godot project settings, but I may want to have like an interactive admin panel that I can trigger different things with, but that takes dev time that I have not yet dedicated. So now we're in the boss fight again. We're going to fight the same boss because there's not multiple bosses yet. So now what will happen is this region now will start having its nodes increase in notoriety. So I'm trying to figure out like what's the next best thing to do. So we've got the notoriety spreading. I'm probably going to need some kind of visual indicator here. So we need node tiers and we need some kind of Inquisition notification here. I think that's the big things to work on, really. Obviously, we'll improve the visual fidelity here, but how will the player be able to tell from one region from another? That's a good question. I think what I'll do, well, the big thing that I can do is I can change the map decorations to make it obviously different. So the regions will have different art on them. They may even have different road sprites and whatnot to really sell it. But we'll figure that out later. How does that work in combination with the cloak that removes penalties for empty nodes? The cloak will still work. So you could dip back into an old region, and as long as you're visiting old nodes, cleared nodes, you will incur no notoriety penalty. So you could don your cloak and go deep back into an earlier region if there's a particular node that you want to grab. I use C# at work. IDK anything about Godot? Any resources you recommend? No, if you're familiar with C#, it's pretty straightforward already. Maybe also the tooltips show the standard cost crossed out next to the current cost. That's a good idea, yeah. My main concern with region is that if you're at the bottom left corner, how can you get to the next region without triggering another boss fight? There could be a node for traveling around or a blood cost to go to the next region. Yeah, that is something that's going to have to be handled as well. Part of it is like, maybe I should just make the player, maybe that should just be part of the player's decision making. Like if you're getting close to the end of the notoriety bar being filled up, it's up to you as a player to position yourself close to the next region so that you can hop into that region when you're ready. But again, there's a grace period where it takes a certain number of turns before the notoriety penalty actually gets set on the node. So you will have, I think, 4 movements before the entire region has the penalty. There's a little bit of a bug here with this region, but that's all right. Just bought your Udemy course, the survival game. I want to say that you're a very good instructor. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Did I just hear art? Yeah. Different colors for higher tiers would go hard. I feel like a node that is very rare and a splash of color on the map would be nice. Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, very professional instructor. Thank you. Thank you, Platori. Appreciate that. Well, I think we can start by upgrading these tooltips here, I think. I got some errors here that are unrelated. So I'm thinking... do something like this. We'll call it notoriety penalty label. Well, maybe we'll do this under the... And the thing is, remember, you're the bad guy in this game, so the Inquisition is actually the good guys. I know the Inquisition typically has a negative connotation, but you're a necromancer and you're going around killing a bunch of villagers, and so the Inquisition is like, wait, we got to stop this. Anyway. So we'll show this notoriety penalty label. Oh, I can do this up here, I think. Let's see what that does. Wanted to ask previous, but forgot. Are there going to be videos like Gunforged? Yes, there will be. Wait, we're the villains? Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Are we the baddies? Okay. So we'll go into the boss fight here. I just want to make sure those labels actually appear. So that one says under the watch of the Inquisition. That will probably not want to be shown for visited nodes. So you can see it's only some of these nodes so far are under the watch, but a lot of these are not yet. So going to be like an intro cutscene, or does it go straight into the game? I haven't decided on that yet. So I think really the next big thing is just to start introducing this concept of having different tiers of nodes. Because that's going to be what really enables me to test this, is that there has to, like, all these nodes are basically the same all the way through the map. So the nodes actually need to get stronger themselves. The combats here get stronger, but I don't want them to just be like mountains of cards. So we're going to have to adjust that as well. Okay, well. Let's go ahead and do this then. Trying to think of how I want to do this. Run map generator. Public int tier. Set tier. Okay, so in the run map generator here, I think I'm assigning the notoriety regions already in here somewhere. Let's see. Assign notoriety tiers, yeah. I wonder if I should just store that. Oh, I am storing it here, okay. So let's come up with a way of doing that. So we've got assign notoriety tiers, assign node types here. Min tier is equal to 0 times node.notoriety tier. Now I forgot, does this notoriety tier get set at 1 by default, or is it 0? Oh, it's 0 based, okay. Node.notoriety tier plus 1. Okay. Final tier is equal to rng.rand I range, min tier range max I range, max tier range plus mathf.floor to int rng.randfn 0.5, maybe 0.3 instead. We probably want this to be biased based on how far away it is from the start as well. But let's just start with this. Final tier, and then we'll do this. Node.set tier. Okay, so we'll do that, and then in my map node tooltip here, what we're going to do is we're going to remove this because this is not relevant. We'll have to figure out a nicer way of displaying this, but we'll go with this for now. Description utils dot game utils to Roman numeral okay, let's see what happens. I want to join the Inquisition. Honestly, the way that I'm building the game, it shouldn't be that hard to reverse the factions. So I think in theory, I should be able to give the player the ability to play as the Inquisition and just flip all the loot tables and stuff. So now you're looting enemy cards or the villager faction cards and whatnot. Anyway, so that's tier. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, I forgot to do this. I know what I did. This needs to be mathf.absolute. Hello, Yeet. Welcome back. Love the color palette. Sticking to it makes the game look a lot cleaner and more uniform. I agree, yeah. Thank you. Playing Necro, you can say that villagers were claiming that Earth revolves around the sun and not the other way around. You should be fine then. I think it could be a list of statuses affecting the node, under watch or cloak affecting cost. Yeah. I was tuned out for a while, but why not use set min tier to 0? Is the 0 a placeholder? Oh, wait. Yeah, I did this wrong. This is to be... Wait a minute. Is that right? This has to be times 2. So I could just do notoriety 0, notoriety tier times 2. So my min tier range, if I'm at notoriety 0, is going to be 0. My min tier range at notoriety 1, region 1, is going to be 2. Yeah, I just did my math wrong. It's okay. So let's restart. Let's take a look at all these things. I like the idea of eventually fighting legendary knights and mages and stuff. Yeah. Cards that are so strong that if you didn't build a good deck, they would destroy you. That's the plan. We'll see what happens. So that's a tier 2 combat. That's a tier 1 max health increase. That's a tier 2, tier 2, tier 2, tier 2. Is there a tier 3 anywhere? There's a tier 3. Let's turn this up a little bit. Thank you for the IDR 10,000 Snup Bill. Very much appreciate that with the message Yummers. Thank you, thank you. Should put the Roman numerals on the map so you can know without highlighting the node. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna take a visual pass at how the map nodes appear. But yeah, the first thing that I want to do is just get the system working before I make a bunch of visual changes, because the visual changes are honestly like, you know, they take a lot of work, and I don't want to do that work until I'm relatively okay with how the mechanic of it is working. So it's easier just for now to slap the label on the tooltip. I'm still not seeing any tier 3s in this region. Did I do something wrong? Maybe I just need a 0.5. Like I said, I want it to be the case that generally in notoriety region, the first notoriety region, the tiers are 1 to 2, but that there can be occasionally a tier 3 in there. There's a tier 3 combat. I don't know what the tier 2 artifact is going to do either. I'm gonna have to think about that. There's a tier 2 enchant. There's a tier 3 combat. Why is it only combats that are being generated with tier 3? That's interesting. Tier 4 combat, tier 3, tier 3. I think the combats are gonna have to be maybe not randomly assigned. Tier 6 alchemy. Tier 6 enchant. I don't know what some of these tiers are gonna represent, honestly, but we'll figure it out. Good morning, Emerson. Welcome back. Why am I not seeing any tier 3s in here? Is this just like not... I don't know why that's not producing many tier 3s. The standard deviation is not high enough, I guess. What do we got going on here? Oh, yeah. So it basically almost never ends up being greater than 1. Oh no, why did I do that? I just closed Godot. That's okay. Let's just bump this up, I guess. We'll do 0.75. I like a modifier key to show detailed information. Factorial does this to display inputs and outputs of everything on screen only when holding a key down. Yeah, that can be a thing. Of course, available as permanent option in the settings menu. Yeah. Looking through each node one by one. Yeah. Glad to see it all coming together so well. Got my new bookstore set and hope to have the next book published in a day or so. Very nice. Please keep the YouTube notifications so that don't use Discord. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any control over the YouTube notifications. So if YouTube chooses not to give you a notification, I can't do anything about that. Tier 3. Tier 2, Tier 2, Tier 2, Tier 2. Oh, these end up being... This ends up creating a lot more Tier 2s as well, which I guess is okay. Alright, that's probably okay for now. It's really only the combats that are ever having their tiers assigned. Am I doing this wrong somewhere? Do I have an early return? I don't think so. Anyway, I think it's okay. We're gonna have to revisit how the combat boards are generated, but let's just start by adding in tier support for a bunch of nodes then. So, assign tiers to nodes. Let's start with the upgrade. Excuse me. So the card upgrade container what I need to do basically in here is private, or no, let's do this. Public void set tier, int tier. So now we've got a clickable validator here. We're setting up this is valid. Var first, let's do this. Var cards is equal to that. Cards dot length equals 1, and Cards 0.tier is less than or equal to tier plus 1, I think. We're gonna have to change this. If cards.length is equal to 0, else if cards.length is greater than 1, cards 0.tier is greater than tier plus 1. To Roman numeral, tier plus 1 or lower can be upgraded here. That should work. All right, let's give it a shot. Oh, I need to also, in my upgrade card event state machine, upgrade container.set tier, context.current node.tier. Okay, let's see what that does. Hello, Jhar. How do you decide when to hardcode these types of values versus having constants JSON files so you can balance stuff without diving deep into the code? Well, when it comes to like the nodes, the tiers are assigned as part of the map generation process, and I don't think it makes sense to define the map generation using resource nodes or resources or JSON or whatever. So it just ends up being hard-coded. I think I can add 100 blood. Yeah, I just did that. I have a debug key that I can hit to give myself money. Oh, shoot. I forgot. This is going to be a lot easier to do if I do this. Let's see. Get rid of this wanted level equals 99 here. Upgrade card is 7. Generate test map 7. I got tonight, so not sure why they're not working for others. Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. Thank you. You mean I won't be able to upgrade a card to tier 5 before the first boss now? Maybe it can be possible, but it will have to be done through something else. So here's a tier 1 upgrade. I'll upgrade the Viper here. So now we've got a card of tier 2. And now if I go to a tier 2 upgrade... Oh, is it not going to generate tiers for these? I see. Well, that doesn't help. Why is that happening? I'll just do this. Void assign node tier. That'll work, and then I'll do this and then assign node types test. Assign node tier node. That should make testing a little bit easier. I know this is gigascope creep, but would you ever consider adding asynchronous PvP to the game? Running into snapshots of other players' board could be really fun. Yeah, that is gigascope for sure. You know, how far the game goes will ultimately depend on how well it does in terms of sales. I'm not opposed to continuing to work on the game if it does well, but I'm also not going to spend a whole lot of time if the game doesn't do well, you know what I mean? Okay, so let's see if this works. Only cards of tier 1 or lower can be upgraded here. So I can update my god mode. Cool, so now there's a restriction here. So what that means is that I should be able to go to this one now. And now I can put the Viper in here because this is a tier 2 card and this is a tier 2 event. And now I've got a tier 3 Viper. So that's a very natural way of restricting the scaling of cards, because now if I wanted to upgrade it further, I have to go into this region now to get more card upgrades. Because since this is a tier 3 card, unless I can find a tier 3, oh, there's a tier 3 there. But generally speaking, the tier 3s are going to be more common in the second region. So it's kind of like a soft cap, but like I said, there's going to be a little bit of blending where you can get a tier 3 upgrade here. So it just adds a little bit of variety. So some runs you will be able to get a tier 4 card in the first region, you know, but it's not going to be super common. And also remember, there's going to be Fog of War. So you may never even encounter a part of the region that contains that tier, right? So that's basically how it's going to go for all the nodes, is I just need to change their power level based on the tier that's assigned to them. And that's going to be basically going to have to be done for every single node type. There are certain node types that I don't know how that's going to work. So yeah, I'm not even sure. And now the cat's making noise again. Very cool, very cool. Anyway, I need a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we're just going to continue on adding tier support into onto all the event types. I think the upgrade board size is going to be a hard one to determine what the tier does. I think the artifact is going to be hard to determine what the tier does. I mean, the easy way to do is just make those always tier 1, like there is no upgraded version, they just are those nodes. But that feels a little bit incomplete to me, so we'll have to think about it some more. But with the alchemy, the obvious thing is to make the alchemy board bigger depending on what the tier is. So anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we'll just continue adding tier support to these different node types. All right, I'm back. Let's do the alchemy now. I think the alchemy is going to be relatively easy too. Let me think about how I want to do this. Let me think. Alchemy event state machine. We're going to need to set the tier on here. So again, we're going to need private int tier. Actually, I don't even know if that needs to be the case. Set board dimensions on ready. I think what I'll do is I'll remove... Maybe I'll get rid of this. We're going to set the dimensions based on the tier. Base dimensions is equal to vector 2 I.1 times 2. X increase is equal to wait, how does this work? X increase is equal to tier divided by 2. Let's do tier plus 1. So wait, is this going to work? So for a tier 2 alchemy, it's going to have it's a 0-based tier. So a tier 2 is going to be 1 as an integer value. So that means that it's going to increase by 1 column. And then if the tier is 3, it will increase. Or if the tier value is 2, it will increase by 1 in the y. Yeah, so I think that's right. So if I do base dimensions dot x plus equals x increase, base dimensions dot y plus equals y increase. Let's just change this to dimensions. Set dimensions, dimensions. I think that will work. So in here, alchemy container dot set tier. Context.currentNode.tier. Okay, time to see what that does. I think 3 is the alchemy one. Kitty, yeah. Game already feels better than Gunforged and should be easier to market because of the uniqueness. I think even if it's not a blockbuster hit, it'll do better than your other projects. Yeah, I tend to agree. This game has more going for it than Gunforged ever did, for sure. Okay, so here's a tier 3 alchemy. This should be a 3x3 board? Yeah, that makes sense, right? So tier 3 is a 3x3 board. And if I skip this, this should be a 3x2 board, I'm thinking, right? 3x2? Yep, there's a 3x2 board now. Very cool. And if I go to a tier 1, it should be 2x2. Yeah, so there we go. So that's how the alchemy is going to scale now, which means that when you get up into here, up into the next region, a tier 4 alchemy is going to be a 4x3 board. And a tier 6 alchemy is going to be a 4x4 board. Or no, a tier 5 will be a 4x4, right? Yeah, I think so. That might be overpowered, but, you know, we'll see. We'll have to play test it. It may be the case that I might have to have, so instead of making every node on the range of like 1 to 2 in the first region and then 3 to 4 in the second region, it may have to be the case that each node type has its own tier ranges for each of the notoriety zones, but again, that's something that's going to have to be tested. You have a certain number in mind you consider success. My ambitious goal, as I mentioned in the devlog videos, I want to sell 50,000 copies, which is a lot. But I think, you know, if I really try to hit that number and it that number fails and I sell 10,000 copies, that's still going to be a very big success, right? So I think 50,000 is doable if I do everything right, if I market it well, and if the game is really fun. And if I don't quite hit all the things necessary to hit that, then I'm going to fall short, but falling short is still going to be a big success. You know what I mean? What's in this phase? Yeah, we're just getting the loop done. We're just getting the actual like run in place. It's going to be one hell of a marketing campaign for 50K sales. I don't think so. I think 50K is doable. I think it's doable, but we'll see. How easy would it be to shift the color palette? Having a slightly different palette for NG Plus or whatever might be cool. I don't think it would be difficult per se. I just think it might break the style unless the color palette was very intentionally chosen, I guess. I don't think it'll be too bad. Once you get higher in tiers, you'll already set yourself to a strat and choices will be way more meaningful than the earlier tiers. Yeah. And here's the thing too, when the alchemy board is bigger, you can put more cards into it, but here's the thing. That means that you're sacrificing more cards because you can only ever get one output from the alchemy, right? So if you put 8 cards in a 4x4 grid, you only get 3 choices out of it and then ultimately 1 card. So you have to transmute 7 cards into 1 card essentially. So, yeah, I think it's going to be okay. It kind of has like this weird scaling curve where it creates more powerful cards, but it also costs more cards. You only hit what you aim for, yeah. Well, there's like, you know, aim small, miss small. I think you could modify that and say aim high, miss high, you know? I have a quick question. Do you know Redo? I've heard of it, yeah. I don't know anything about it though. I will say that when I played Alchemortis, I will say I played Alchemortis for about 2.5 hours despite its lean content and very easy difficulty. You got something here for sure, just needs more quality of life and content. Thank you, Jackie. I'm very happy to hear that, yeah. The fact that people are enjoying and spending a couple hours just on the very bare bones playtest version is very encouraging. So thank you to everyone. First of all, thank you to everyone who's a Patreon subscriber. I've already got a nice chunk of extra income coming in, which is going to be useful for things like, you know, paying the musician to have more tracks. Like even something as simple as that is going to be a lot easier. And also, yeah, the support is just generally appreciated. And of course, I'm loving all the feedback as well. And of course, yeah, like I said, the playtest will be available to the public. You don't have to pay to get access to the playtest. I just want to make that perfectly clear. Paying is an optional thing you can do to get early access plus some additional perks, but you will have an opportunity to do the current version of the playtest in just a week or so. The only thing I noticed is that the color palette is beautiful, but it's difficult to see and eye tiring. You know what? I've heard that quite a bit on the stream, but I have not yet heard anyone who has actually played Alchemortis say that the color palette is too dark. So I was worried about that, but no one's mentioned it yet. No one has said the game is just too dark. When I play it, I can't see what's going on. So I think that most of the people concerned about the brightness of the game, that's usually coming from, I think, people who are watching on YouTube, which may change the colors a little bit, but also people who are maybe watching on a mobile device with their brightness turned down, which is typical. I mean, I don't have my phone on full brightness ever. But everyone who has played it on like a laptop or a desktop machine, I haven't heard anything about the color palette being too dark. So I think it's okay. Now I could probably offer an option in the settings to just brighten the palette a little bit, which may work, but yeah, we'll have to figure that out. It's totally doable. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be hard for sure. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think it's possible as like a stretch goal. You have 2 hours already? Very cool. Just a fork of Godot, and I was thinking if you could make your Godot utilities even for Redo or update it to a new version of Godot if possible. Godot utilities works in all versions of Godot 4. I don't know why it wouldn't work in a fork of Godot unless they've done something special with C#, but I don't know for sure. Got about 90 minutes, and when I played longer, if Buddy didn't hit me up for some BG3, nice, yeah. I actually thought it was too dark on stream, but it doesn't feel that way in game. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, yeah. I'm glad. Need some colorblind testers. Yeah, that would help. I think the nice thing about this game, though, is that color really doesn't communicate anything critical to the game. So I'm hoping that colorblind people will still find it perfectly playable. But yeah, we're going to need to figure that out. Godot, I just heard about. They improved a lot of the performance issues in Godot. Wish they would have made those changes to the actual Godot engine, not some fork that isn't as popular. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Godot maintainers are in a rough spot because they have to accept all these demands from the community, but then they also have to keep in mind the overall direction of the engine. If they've got other architectural stuff planned to work on that a pull request just doesn't fit with, then they have to reject it or say, we can't accept this. It's got to be a very tough position to be in. But anyway, so the alchemy is supported now. Add tier scaling to alchemy. All right, what's the next one we need to do? So the booster, let's see, combat is going to have to, I'm going to have to overhaul how the combat is generated because the current way of scaling the combat just does not make any sense with this new approach. So that's going to have to be rewritten. I think for shop and booster, I think I'll just make it, those cards just drop higher tiers, basically. So we did alchemy, enchant. Yeah, I don't know what to do about enchant. Grow board, I don't know what to do about this. Max health will just scale the health value that you get. Booster, artifact, visited. Artifact. Visited is not a thing. Artifact, I don't know what to do about that either. Let's do the booster in the shop. So let's do this. Booster, event, state machine. I don't know what that just did, but that's okay. Oh, I see. So tier is equal to context.currentNode.tier. Then down here, what do we want to do? Do I want to do tier plus 1 divided by 2? Is that going to work? Is that all I need to do? So basically what I'm saying is that if you have a booster that has a tier value of 1, which is a tier 2 booster, then the min additional tier, it's always going to drop cards with 1 extra tier, but it still has a random chance to upgrade it even further. So I think that will probably work. Let's see, event type, booster is 8. Project settings, test map node type 8. Not sure they update and add features when Godot doesn't do anything about them. Oh. Godot is becoming more and more corporate, which is kind of scary. Yeah, it's just... I'm kind of sympathetic because there's such a big community around Godot. I wonder how Blender managed it. You know, Blender became really big as an open source project too. Tier 2. Oh, so this one generated tier 3. This one generated tier 2. Very nice. Someone left a comment, maybe it was you, Jackie Daytona, about the weapons always being the same every time. And yeah, that's because there's only, I think, 3 weapon cards in the game. So definitely need more weapons. So now if I go to a tier 1, this should just generate tier 1 cards, I think. Yeah, perfect. I think that's basically working the way that it should be. Is there a tier 3 somewhere? Yeah, there's a tier 3 over there. Oh goodness. I don't think it's really necessary to see this, but we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it live. We're gonna do it live, everybody. I'm a colorblind and couldn't tell what the status effect numbers were really. Know that there are very few colors to make me helpful that I can still learn to discern them. Couldn't tell what the status effect numbers were really. Okay, well, there's icons on the status effect numbers, I think, but maybe that's not enough. So I'll have to think about it. But yeah, good to know that we got somebody here who can test the colorblind accessibility for me. Very nice. Being able to hover over status effects during combat would be nice. Tier 3 booster. Okay, here we go. We should see tier 3 cards being dropped. It did not work. Why didn't that work? Oh, because it's... Wait a minute. So it's a tier 3 booster. So that would be value of 2 plus... Oh, yeah. Wonder if I should just do tier plus 1. Or maybe just tier. Let's try that, actually. Artifact could have something like re-rolls and or additional options based on tier and could scale at half the speed of other nodes. Yeah, so that's the thing. I think that's the big question is like, do I want to make every node on a range of like tier 1 to 8 or whatever? Or do I want to have some nodes that can fit in that range, but other nodes, they go only from tier 1 to 4, you know? I think that's a good question. I haven't yet decided what I want to do. I may have to do something like that. So tier 2 should drop tier 2 cards, right? Yeah, tier 2 cards. So basically the booster will drop cards of the same tier as the booster, I think, with a chance to go even higher. So this should be tier 3. Yeah. Very cool. Again, the booster may be one of those things where we have to flatten it, you know, make it only go up to like tier 5 rather than whatever. But this is stuff that has to be play tested. Right now, I'm mostly just interested in getting it functional, and then we will tone down things as necessary. All right, now we got to do the same thing for the shop. So where is the shop configuration being generated? Shop configuration. Oh, here we go. Generate shop inventories. So this min addition, or yeah. So we'll make it the same functionality as the booster, basically. This min additional tier, we're going to get rid of this. And then this is just going to be node.tier. I'm such a genius, man. This is so easy to implement. I only have to make one change every place, and it's like, oh man. Sometimes the weight of my intelligence is just like, kind of weighs me down, you know? That's a joke, everybody. That's a joke. Anyway. Event type. Shop 2. Also having a shortcut to equip a card back into the board instead of the inventory after upgrading and whatnot. Yeah, so I think what I need to do is have like a memory of where the card came from, and then when you right click, it uses that memory to put the card back where it was. I've definitely felt that pain as well. Did I write that down? Oh, making the mouse able to pan the camera is another good one. Make cards quick move back to their original positions when using them in events like enchant, upgrade, etc. Don't recall that feedback. I think that was someone else. Okay. Boosters being completely random instead of categorized by tags would make it feel more like opening a mystery box. Yeah, I think the way Balatro does it is like you can have packs that have like an increased chance of certain types of things. So instead of the booster giving only minion cards, it could say like has one guaranteed minion or something like that, right? But everything else is random. That might be the way to go. That's probably enough, to be honest. I'll keep my defective eyes open for things that might confuse them. Okay. I mean, yeah, feel free. I think your feedback about the colors is going to be particularly valuable, so feel free to bring up any issues that you encounter in the Discord. I think my biggest concern with the boosters is that the upgrade nodes become less important. Just hunt for higher tier packs. Yeah, I think that's a good concern, but I think because the boosters are still random, it's like, it's not necessarily the case that even if the card is stronger, it may not fit into the build that you're using. And if it does fit into the build, the card may have different dimensions than what's on your board, which would require some reconfiguration. So I can see how it could be a problem, but I'm not terribly concerned about it because there still are, it's not a guaranteed upgrade even if you get a strong card, because it may not, like I said, it may not fit in your board or with your build or whatever. So these are all generating at, oh, these tiers need to be set too. Oh, interesting. So sharp. Oh wait, does this just automatically work? Oh. Wait a minute. So if I enter a shop of tier 2 and I purchase an event through the shop, it should be the same tier as the shop. So if I go to this tier 2 shop here, add, 2,000 blood or whatever. If I go into this, oh, that's a tier, wait, so this is a tier 2 shop, right? Let's purchase the squid and the axe and then purchase this upgrade card. If I try to do this, this is a tier 3 card, but this should be a tier 2. Yeah, only cards of tier 2 or lower. So that automatically works. Very cool. So now I can upgrade this one through the shop. I like how that just works. That's nice. Oh, very cool. So yeah, any event that's available through the shop here will inherit the shop's tier. I think that makes sense. Okay. Let's just go to this tier 3 shop just to be thorough. I would recommend checking out Marvel's Midnight Suns game. They do interesting ideas with cards and upgrades. Okay. This man will be a nightmare if his game is a huge success. Oh yeah, I will. I will. I'm gonna, if this game is a huge success and I become a multi-trillionaire, you guys will never hear from me again. That's true. I'll be like, thanks for all the support. Bye. No. Nope, that won't happen. Is this a tier 3 shop? I think it is, right? So now I should be able to upgrade a tier 3 card. Get on that board. Do you mind, cat? What are you doing? What are you doing? My cats have decided that their new habit is chewing on my router antennas. Anyway, this is working great. So, yeah. Make tier functional with shop. Now, hold on a second. Yeah, okay, we're good. Just making sure the same RNG is used here. I'm not late on making an entrance. Welcome, Asymmetrics, formerly known as Adam. Good to see you as always. Also, an alchemy card guarantees a tier increase when alchemized. Are you suggesting as like an artifact? I may not understand what the alchemy system, or I may not understand the alchemy system mechanic fully, but wouldn't you be able to get alchemized cards from the boosters to get something better and keep the tier? Or is the tier part of what is randomly kept? Yes, the tier is part of what's randomly kept. The tier output of alchemy is based on the tier inputs. So if you put a card of tier 2 and a card of tier 5 in the alchemy grid and you alchemize that, the output cards can be anywhere on the range 2 to 5. So if you want to preserve the tier, the way to do that is to put cards of the same tier in there. So if you put 2 tier 3 cards in the alchemy grid and alchemize it, the outputs are always guaranteed to be tier 3 because there's no variation. So basically, like, the inputs to the alchemy system define the variability in the outputs, is the way to think about it. The same is true, by the way, of crit chance and crit multipliers and all that stuff. Hello, Dmox. Welcome, welcome. Love the blacksmith animation. Is that via animation player or via code? It's a mixture of both. Most of it is animation player in that case, but there are some tween animations in there. So like, for instance, when the card shrinks into that ingot or that ore thing, that's a tween. But everything with the hammer smashing and the ore hitting, that's animation players. My cat once chewed off my headphone cable. I feel the pain. Oof. If you suddenly go offline, we know why. Cat's trying to get to that brain cell signal, yeah. At least we can all say we know some e-celeb before they bought out Microsoft, yeah. Have you ever had trouble staying focused on your projects? If so, how do you overcome it? I mean, yes, that has happened. Generally, though, what I've found is that it kind of depends on what... Like, I think I have a relatively good, like, work habit where I work on my game for many hours a day. So in the cases where I felt really unmotivated to work or where I was discouraged or whatever, usually that's a symptom of something being wrong with the game. Usually it's a symptom of the game just not being fun at its core. And I wish I had listened to that more, particularly with Gunforged, because Gunforged development was not very fun in a lot of cases. And I think the reason why is because it just wasn't that fun to play until I got it into the later iterations of the game. This game, I have absolutely no problems working on it because it's really fun and I love all the potential that it has. And so I know that I'm working towards something interesting the more effort I put into it. So I don't know if that helps at all, but you know, that's just the way, that's just my experience. Get out, go, get off the router. Go, Shurima, go, get, go, 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 get, go, go, go. Smart cats targeting infrastructure is how you bring the system down from the inside. They'll have you back in no time. Yeah, seriously. Like the lead ingot, so it gives a range of tier increases like it increased the cards. Oh, I see. I got you. Yeah, I definitely want to do like more alchemical reagents as cards that modify the alchemy results. Just different ingots. Yeah, we could do that. Makes sense, and yes, it helps a lot. Okay, good. What am I doing now? So we did the shop, we did the booster. The grow board, I have no clue how this is going to work. Enchant, I don't know how enchant is going to work. Artifact, so reroll options for artifacts. We could do the max health one. I think the max health will be the next good one to do. And that will basically be it for all the easy ones. So let's go to our max health, health event state machine. Oh, interesting. How am I going to do this? I kind of don't like this, but public void set tier. Plus tier times 5. We'll keep the cost the same. I think that will work. My health event state machine here. Health option container dot set tier. Context dot current node dot tier. Okay. Let's set that up. So that was health option, right? Health option, or no. Event type, max health 6. 6. Surprising lack of gold in this game for alchemy. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Should figure that out. I'm working on a 2D platformer that I'm designing to be boring since the player that you control is stuck in the void, being surrounded by a story that is finished without you. Interesting. It's very interesting. It's a bold move, designing a game that's boring. But I could see that being a hook, maybe. So tier 1, this should just be 10, 15, 25. Then tier 2, it should be 15, 20, and 30. There's a tier 3 one. Hello, Chris. Welcome. Good to see you. Hello, hello. I need to have an Aqua Regia card. What is that? I'm assuming that's some kind of alchemy term. 20, 25, 35. Very nice. Okay, I think that's working. Where's my playtest download? Did you join the Patreon, Chris? If you didn't get a key, then I can get you one. Are you going to difficulty ramp the game and also maybe codex for all the discovered cards? Yes to both. I mean, obviously the game needs to be more difficult than it is. Plus, you know, depending on how the meta progression shapes up, that's going to have to control the difficulty as well. I think what a lot of roguelikes do is they will have like run modifiers that make the game more difficult. I think New Game Plus could be cool too, though. A New Game Plus system. Again, I want to get the core loop finished and working first before I start layering on a bunch of extra supporting systems. Hi, Cat. Hello, you want to come up here? He's a good boy. Sometimes. You're sometimes a good boy. Sometimes you're a good boy. Can you purr into the mic? Let's let everyone hear you. Okay. I don't know if anyone heard that. No, that's okay. I was just wondering if there's a genuine problem. You will be able to playtest it. I think what I'll do is I'll probably just launch the playtest next week on Monday. I think a week of early access for Patreon members is probably plenty of time, because I still want to get like a lot of feedback. I don't want it to go like 3 weeks before I'm getting feedback, and I've already done 3 extra weeks of development. So I think probably on Monday of next week, I'll launch the playtest for the public, and I'll probably leave that open for a week as well. And then it will probably get shut down and deactivated for a number of weeks until I have another build with significant differences to test. My key went to the junk mail, so watch out for that. Oof. Rip me. Should make a Google form for feedback and ideas so I don't bombard you randomly with ideas you won't use. No, you can. I mean, if you put them in the Discord, that's fine. I think Discord is well suited for that kind of like ephemeral information, you know, because it's not really an archive. It's just kind of like a rolling chat. So I just read the chat, and then any ideas that I like, I just take and put them in my board. So I have, you know, just that record. You know what I mean? Hello, cat. Hello. Hello, kitties. Okay. He's very cute, yeah. He's very cute. My first play is that the boss all have huge cooldowns, so aggro deck is pretty effective on playtest. Yeah. I heard those purrs so cute. Very nice. A nickname by alchemists for one of the few substances that can dissolve gold. Okay. Aqua Regia. So I think I handled all the very obviously easy to handle ones with the tiers. I don't know how to handle grow board. That's going to be an interesting one. Can I help you? I wonder if... for growing the board, what about this? So the tier... let me think. So maybe instead of the grow board event, growing your board by 1 column or run 1 row every time you visit it, maybe the tier determines what the new size of the board is. The unfortunate thing though about that would be, so what I'm thinking is like, if you've got a tier 3 grow board, then what that's going to do is set your board size to what, 3x2 or whatever it is. But then the problem with that is that any tier below that won't be effective. So if you go to a tier 2 grow board, it won't do anything. I guess there's pros and cons to both approaches. One pro is that if you don't get a lot of grow board events for whatever reason, but then you stumble across a tier 4 grow board, well, now all of a sudden your board gets bigger and, you know, you're not falling behind. But of course, the bad thing is that any tier below tier 4 then for the grow board is just going to be useless, which I don't like either. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I could see pros and cons of both approaches. And I still haven't decided if I want to make the grow board different, like if I want to support odd-shaped boards. Because the obvious thing to do is like, if you can place individual cells on your board to grow them, then like a tier 1 grow board is going to give you like 2 cells to place, and a tier 2 will give you 3 cells to place, and so on and so forth. I can dissolve gold if I eat it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Jackie Daytona's PDF file was a good way of presenting the feedback. Do you want the players to choose how to grow the board? That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. 2 boards. Growing board might make balancing more difficult. Yeah, it will. I would recommend leaving the playtest open for people to play in its current state. Then when you have significant changes, update the playtest demo. That way people can still enjoy what's here. I don't want to do that. And the reason is actually baked into your question, which is that I want people to want more. So I want to take the experience away from them so that they're not going to burn themselves out on it. Eventually, I will launch a demo for the game, which will be something that can be consistently downloaded and played. But for the playtest, I'm gonna be revoking access for several weeks at a time to keep people interested, mostly. But also because, like, you know, as I do the marketing more and more, I don't want people to play a playtest build and get turned off by the lack of content or whatever. So I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be okay. I don't know what to do about this grow board. Revoking access is the way to go. I think so. There will be a demo, like I said. Eventually, as the development starts to wrap up, I'll have a demo that's just always available to download. What's the difference between a playtest and a demo? A playtest is specifically for giving players access to like very early versions of the game for the purpose of gathering feedback, whereas a demo is more of like a marketing tool. A demo is basically like, here's basically how the game is going to be when it gets sold. You can try it before you buy it, essentially. But that's not what the playtest is for. The playtest is for gathering feedback, specifically. So that's the way I think about them. A demo is basically like a lead generation to drive sales of your game, and a playtest is like, hey, I actually need feedback to make the game. Having a demo after the game launches is a controversial topic. I've seen good arguments both for and against it, yeah. I think a very obvious way to handle the demo for this game is to let players get to the first boss and then just say, hey, your run is saved, but you can't continue until you purchase the game. It might be kind of like a... I think it would be a good... Yeah, that seems fine to me. Because you could always abandon the run and start over if you just want to keep fighting the first boss over and over again, but just have that little paywall and say like, hey, your run is saved, you'll be able to continue where you left off, but you got to purchase now. I think that would be fun. I don't know what to do about this grow board. Okay, let's think about the other ones. So, artifact re-rolling is an interesting idea. So I think I do want to avoid... I want every node to generate on the same tier range, so tier 1 to 2 or whatever. So what I'm thinking, if I do a reroll for the artifact, so there's 3 artifacts that get presented to you. So maybe after the first tier, well, I have to think about this. After the first tier, so if you have a tier 2 artifact, maybe the reroll button only rerolls one of the options. And then like a tier 3 artifact would reroll 2 of the options. And a tier 3 artifact or a tier 4 artifact would reroll 3 of the options. And then maybe every tier after that just gives you extra rerolls. I don't know. Maybe that's not a good idea. I think playtests set expectations a lot better than early access. My wife absolutely loved Traveler's Rest. Then they changed the core part of the gameplay and she really does not like it now. Oof. Playtest conveys the core functionality may change better than EA. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's right. I think early access to me, like the ideal early access game is like, this is the game, it's fundamentally not going to change. The only thing that will change during the early access period is like the availability of content and also like quality of life features. Like when I buy games in early access that basically just keep adding content and that's it, that's my favorite kind, you know. Hi, can I help you? I've been staring at the screen for a while, mostly because I don't know how to handle the tier differences in like enchant. I don't know how to handle enchant tier differences either. I mean, I can make the enchant the same as the alchemy where the board size increases, but that doesn't really make sense because you can only ever put 1 card on the board anyway, so maybe that's not right. The enchant maybe could allow multiple cards to be placed on the board so that when you apply the enchant, Or maybe it just can have multiple uses. I don't know. I don't know. Might be wise to include a warning that everything is subject to change. I think I did include that. I think I did. Or maybe I didn't make a note of that. Hold on. Yeah, I don't really explicitly say that the game can change a lot here, but I think it's kind of implied. Maybe make rerolls more expensive each time the player uses, like Balatro. We're gonna add like a card dictionary. Yes, I want to, yeah. Yeah. I definitely want to. Enchant numbers can just scale, so instead of getting crit chance 10%, it's... Oh, that's a good idea. The problem is, I have some enchantments that the scaling is not obvious. So like the Swarm enchant. Here. What this does is this adds the Swarm ability to a card. There's nothing really to scale here, you know. Any good resources on getting started with C# and Godot? I use C# daily for work. It would be much more familiar. No, I don't think... I think that getting started with C# and Godot is relatively straightforward. It's not that much different from how you would approach things using GDScript. You just have to C#ify it. So I think if you're already familiar with C#, you can just get into the Godot stuff. The documentation in Godot has C# snippets for a lot of things, so you can see how it looks. Swarm and Echo can just stay the same. Yeah, I can do that. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I really like... I don't know. I might have to think about this some more. The combat is going to be the next thing that I have to really rework with a new tier system. Oh boy, Swarm and Echo is so OP though. Yeah, I might have to. I might change Swarm. I think I'm gonna nerf Swarm. So Swarm right now, it triggers all other Swarm cards. I think what I might do is make Swarm trigger one random Swarm card, which would be a little bit more reasonable, I think, because Swarm is very OP. Well, I have to admit, everybody, I'm kind of stumped on how to scale the other remaining event types with tier. So I'm going to have to think about that. This is in progress. So let me do this. I'm going to take a little bit of a detour, I think. There's a bug in the playtest that I want to resolve. Which is that if I click on the scroll bar, to scroll a card description, it's going to break. So let me... Oh gosh, this is going to be bad. Playtest 1. Basic way to scale them would just be bumping up the numbers. As for unique mechanics for tiers, though, good luck. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to think about that. Anyway, I'm going to fix this bug. How long is each playtest supposed to last? I think 2 weeks. I think 1 week for the Patreon members, exclusive early access, and then 1 week for public. I think that's what I'm going to settle on. Yeah, so I can't grab that scroll bar. I wonder if I can do this. Let's see. Let's get rid of this. And what we're going to do is we're going to do node private margin container. Actually, I wonder if I can just... No. Let's do this. Margin container dot GUI input plus equals on margin container GUI input. Private void on margin container GUI input event EVT. If not is playing out. I think what I have to do in here is margin container dot accept event, like so. Okay, that should work. Let's see. How do I download the latest version of the playtest build? It'll just be distributed through Steam. So if there's an update, it will show up as an update in your Steam library. Okay, so now clicking in here doesn't do anything, which means I can still scroll this. And if I click out, that will close it. But if I right click anywhere, it will dismiss. And if I hit escape, it will dismiss. So that makes sense. So now I can just click out and that will close it. But if I click anywhere in here, that mouse event will not close it. Cool. That works. Discard that. Fix card inspector scroll bug. Okay, so now I'm going to push a new build. What was my latest tag? 0.4.2. Get tag v 0.4.3 dot or dash test. Git push tags. Boom, new Steam build on the way. Now I have to figure out how to take that commit and put it onto my master branch. I'll figure that out later. I think the main menu should have the text always visible. I find myself just checking what's what sometimes, even though I know what they are. Okay, yeah, I may do that. If you choose a random swarm card, that could be your scaling. It could then be 2 random cards. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. I think I will do that. Change swarm to target X number of other swarm cards based on tier. That would definitely work. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, well, it's McDonald's time. I agree with the menu text. There, I sub to the Patreon. Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Thank you. Agree with the menu text. Okay. I don't like that change, but whatever. I'll change it. I probably won't do that for the playtest though. Make menu text. Okay, so it's McDonald's time, but yeah, I'm going to push that update to the playtest, just a simple bug fix. It's not really anything major, but yeah, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the Patreon and given me feedback on Alchemortis. I definitely very much appreciate that. And again, if you want playtest access right now, you can become a member at the Patreon page. The top tier will get your name in the Alchemortis credits as well as unlimited course access. But if you just want access to the early playtest builds, you can just join at the supporter tier here. Also, there's other perks here that you can read through, but yeah. Anyway, so I think that's it. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all for being here. Very, very happy with the way the game is going, and also very much appreciate the support. McDonald's is an indirect sponsor of the game. Yeah, seriously. I should get paid by McDonald's every time I say McDonald's, like in Idiocracy. Yeah, have a good day, everyone. I love forcing you to change the game with democracy, yeah. For unique mechanics, perhaps they could be gated by tier. For example, maybe Echo can only show up on tier 3 and higher. That's a good point too, yeah. That's a good point too. Okay, well, anyway, thanks again, everyone. I appreciate it, and I'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so I hope to see you there. Bye-bye for now.